So I dare say the personality systems can be a little bit controversial. Are they another form of having us limit and separate ourselves, or are they a fun and interesting, valuable tool of self-discovery? You decide for yourself, but I will be giving my opinions, my current opinions at least, and we'll be doing a brief overview of some of the most popular secular personality systems. So when I say secular, just meaning these don't have any particular spiritual elements to them. So first up, we have the myers-briggs test, also known as the MBTI test or the 16 personalities test. Just like the name sounds, it's a test that sorts people into 16 personalities. So I'll hold my comments to the end, but just the phrase sorts people into 16 personalities based on a multiple choice test. You know, I can't give the Myers-Briggs too much flack for that because that's generally what the overall personality system concept gets flack for. But look, I had to call it as I see it as well. So the Myers-Briggs system was created by Catherine Cook Briggs and her daughter Isabel Briggs Myers, based on the work of Carl Jung. So there are 4 sets of dichotomies within this system. We'll go through them very quickly, and you can see where you might fall on the spectrum in each of these categories. Keep in mind that there is really not a major sense of spectrum within these categories. It's like one or the other, which would be my next qualm with the system. But that being said, see if there is one that you relate to much more strongly in each of the categories. All right, so we have introversion versus extroversion. You probably are aware of this concept already. Introversion is basically the idea that you are recharged by solitude. Extroversion is the idea that you are charged by spending time with people. Then we have sensing versus intuition. So a sensing type would be someone who's very focused on the concrete details, what they can see in front of them, what they can read on a spreadsheet, while the intuitive type is someone who likes to move based on their gut and their intuition and their instinct. So think about how you generally tend to make decisions. Do you look at the facts? Do you make a pros and cons list? Or do you feel into it and you say, this is what I'm feeling, I'm going for this? The next set is thinking versus feeling. So similar to the last set, it's basically, are you more logically oriented, or do you like to move based on your feelings and your value system? Lastly, we have the judging versus perceiving type. So are you someone who's more structured, organized, liking to plan ahead? Or are you someone who's more spontaneous and likes to take things as they come and keep your options open? So this system is probably my personal least favorite out of the 3 as of right now, just because I'm not sure that you can really qualify someone as being fully introvert, fully extrovert, or especially fully logically thinking or fully moving based on their feelings. I think these are really things that are within a spectrum, and that spectrum changes over time, even sometimes day to day. For me, I got the same result with the Myers-Briggs for many years, and recently have started to get a new result. But with my critiques out of the way, I do feel like I got something out of taking the test again and seeing how I might have changed or how my self-concept might have changed over time, and being able to have that little bit of assistance on my self-reflections. So let me know in the comments how you're feeling about this system right now. Let's go into the next one, which is the enneagram. The enneagram is based on much older wisdom, possibly including Sufism, Christian mysticism, the Kabbalah, I believe, and early Greek philosophy. It includes 9 personality types. However, the interesting thing about the Enneagram system, even though it is still multiple choice, it goes into detail about how each type might present while feeling very stressed or while feeling generally very healthy. So the overall concept of the Enneagram is that it's really based on a person's overall fears and motivations. So the idea is that when a certain type is feeling more stressed or more healthy, their fears and motivations may slide, may be exacerbated, or may be soothed, leading them to present as a whole other type in the personality system. I think that's very interesting. I would be very curious to explore that a little bit more. Another feature that I do find valuable about the Enneagram system is the scale of health that they have for each of the types. So pretty detailed descriptions about how a type might behave when they're feeling disempowered versus empowered. I can see how this could be a very useful tool to check in on yourself. There was a point that I tried to apply this day to day and see how I was feeling like within that little scale. The thing is, it is much more nuanced than that. Of course, health is something that's quite nuanced and even sometimes pretty subjective, but that technique might be one that I try out again. I'll also say that I've heard the Enneagram system was actually something way different in ancient times, and that this whole 9 personality types is relatively new and a total different interpretation of what the symbol actually meant. So keep that in mind. And lastly, we have the strengthsfinder test. This is one that's very prominently used in organizational business environments. So if we're talking about secular personality systems, I feel like this one had to be mentioned. It was created by a man named Donald Clifton, who had an epiphany in the late 20s that defining people based on their weaknesses wasn't it. He theorized that pinpointing and emphasizing a person's natural strengths and talents would make them more fulfilled in the long run, as well as more successful for themselves and whatever organization they were participating in. This is also a multiple choice test, so gotta mention that. However, it's not placing anyone into a specific personality type. It's a little bit of a twist on the whole idea. What they did when developing this was work in conjunction with an organization called the Gallup organization to do a series of tests across millions of successful people to see what their general thoughts, feelings, and behaviors were. Caveat, I would like to know what they used to define the term successful in these and choosing these people, but for now, let's just continue. So the test has 34 categories or strengths that it has written down in detail, and it ranks you on them. What is your top 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to your 33rd, 34th strength. And the point of taking it all the way down to 34 and including the entire range in the results is that then you can visually have an idea of how to delegate or how to improve the areas at the bottom. For me personally, I had all of my top 5 strengths in the same area, and I could see how seeing something visually like that could be very useful in me embracing and utilizing something that otherwise might have been a frustration. Since taking it for the first time years ago, it's really not something I've returned to all that much, so you can do with that information what you will, but maybe it's something that I will look at again now that I've made this video. So my overall takeaway with the personality system concept in general is to take everything with a grain of salt, and that they're maybe best used as a form of self-discovery that's relatively lighthearted, that's for fun, that's to help spark conversations and understanding within a community. Keep in mind that it's okay to change and that you're so much more than an abbreviation or a single-digit number. So much more. Thank you for watching. You can leave any questions about these systems or other systems in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. I'd love it if you subscribed. Bye.